I'm George Patterson. I'm 69 years old, and I never thought I'd be sitting in my car outside a diner on Thanksgiving Day, kicked out of my own son's house like some unwanted stranger. Listen to this story until the end, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Then tell me what part touched your heart, and what city you're listening from. Right now, I'm parked outside Mel's Diner, watching families through the window, enjoying their Thanksgiving dinner together. Families that actually want to be together, not like mine, apparently. You want to know what I did that was so terrible? I brought the wrong cranberry sauce. That's it. I brought homemade cranberry sauce instead of the canned stuff Michael's wife Jennifer prefers. Dad, I specifically told you to bring the Ocean Spray cranberry sauce, Michael said when I walked in with my dish. I thought you'd like homemade better, I replied. Your mother always made it from scratch. That's when Jennifer rolled her eyes. Great. Here we go with the "your mother did it better" routine again. I didn't say that, I protested. You didn't have to, Michael snapped. You always do this, Dad. You always find a way to make Jennifer feel bad by comparing her to Mom. That's not what I was doing. Yes, it is. And frankly, I'm tired of it. We're tired of it. The argument escalated from there. Jennifer started crying, saying I never respected her cooking. Michael accused me of being stuck in the past. Their kids, my grandchildren Emma and Tyler, just sat there looking uncomfortable. You know what, Dad? Michael finally said. Maybe you should just leave. Come back when you can respect my wife and my family. This is my family too, I said. Not today, it isn't. And that's how I ended up here, alone on Thanksgiving, wondering how everything went so wrong. Let me back up and tell you how we got to this point. It started 2 years ago when my wife Helen died. Helen was the glue that held our family together. She was the one who smoothed over the rough edges, who made sure everyone felt included and loved. When Helen got sick with cancer, I took care of her for 8 months. I cooked her meals, drove her to treatments, held her hand through the worst of it. Michael and Jennifer helped, but they had their own lives, their own kids to worry about. The diagnosis came on a Tuesday in March. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer. The doctor said 6 months, maybe less. Helen took the news better than I did. George, she said, holding my hand in that sterile hospital room, I need you to promise me something. Anything. When I'm gone, don't stop living. Don't become one of those men who just sits in his chair waiting to die. Don't talk like that. Promise me, George. Promise me you'll find a way to be happy again. I promised, but I didn't mean it. How could I be happy without her? Those 8 months were the hardest of my life. Watching the woman I loved waste away, seeing her fight so hard just to have one more day with us. But they were also precious months. We talked about everything, our life together, our regrets, our hopes for Michael and the grandkids. Take care of Michael, she said near the end. He's going to need you, even if he doesn't know it yet. He's got Jennifer. He's got his own family now. He's still our little boy, George. He's going to grieve too, and men don't always know how to do that. Helen died on a Sunday morning in November, just 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. I held her hand as she took her last breath, and I felt like part of my soul died with her. The funeral was a blur. So many people came to pay their respects. Helen had touched a lot of lives in her 67 years. She had been a teacher for 30 years, and dozens of her former students came to say goodbye. She had volunteered at the animal shelter, the food bank, the children's hospital. The church was packed. Michael gave a beautiful eulogy about what a wonderful mother and grandmother she had been. Emma read a poem she had written about her grandmother. Tyler, only 7 at the time, placed a drawing on the casket, a picture of him and Helen baking cookies together. After everyone left, I sat in our empty house and didn't know what to do with myself. For 42 years, Helen had been my partner in everything. We made decisions together, planned our days together, shared every meal together. Now I was alone with my grief and my memories. The house felt enormous without her. Every room held a memory. The kitchen where she made my coffee every morning. The living room where we watched our shows together. The bedroom where she died in my arms. I couldn't eat. Food had no taste. I couldn't sleep. The bed felt too big, too empty. I couldn't concentrate on anything. I'd start to read the newspaper and forget what I was reading halfway through an article. Michael checked on me every day for the first week. Dad, you can't just sit here. You need to eat something. I'm not hungry. Mom wouldn't want you to waste away. Your mother isn't here to tell me what she wants. I know I was difficult. I know I was pushing him away, but I didn't know how else to handle the pain. The second week, Michael brought groceries and made me dinner. "Dad, when's the last time you showered?" "I don't remember." "Come on, go clean up. I'll make us some soup." "I don't want soup." "You're going to eat soup anyway." He was trying so hard to take care of me, but I couldn't see it then. All I could see was the empty space where Helen used to be. 2 weeks after the funeral, Michael sat me down for a serious talk. "Dad, Jennifer and I have been talking. We think you should come stay with us for a while." "I'm fine here." "No, you're not. You're barely eating. You're not sleeping. You're not taking care of yourself." I said I'm fine. "Dad, please, let us help you." I looked around the house Helen and I had shared for 30 years. Every corner held a memory. Her coffee cup still sat in the sink. Her reading glasses were still on the nightstand. Her clothes still hung in the closet. "Just for a little while," I said finally. "Just until you're feeling better." That was my first mistake. I thought I could heal from losing Helen by surrounding myself with reminders of her. I thought I could honor her memory by keeping everything exactly the same. Michael and Jennifer cleared out their guest room for me. They moved Tyler's gaming system and Emma's art supplies to make space for my things. The kids were excited to have Grandpa living with them. "Now we can have pancakes every morning," Tyler said. "And you can help me with my homework every day," Emma added. "And you can read us bedtime stories like Grandma used to," Tyler chimed in. For the first few weeks, it felt good to be around family. The house was full of life and noise and activity. It was a distraction from my grief. Emma would show me her artwork and ask for my opinion. Tyler would tell me about his day at school, about his friends, about the games he was playing. Jennifer would ask me to help with dinner, and I felt useful again. But as the weeks turned into months, I started to notice things. Jennifer would make dinner, and I'd comment that Helen used to add a little garlic to the meatloaf. Or she'd help Emma with a school project, and I'd mention how Helen and I used to handle it. I thought I was sharing memories. I didn't realize I was making comparisons. "George," Jennifer said to me one evening after the kids had gone to bed, "can we talk?" "Of course. I know you miss Helen. We all miss her. But when you constantly tell me how she did things differently, it makes me feel like I'm not doing things right." "I'm not criticizing you." "Maybe not intentionally, but that's how it feels. I'm just sharing stories about her. Every story is about how she was better at something than I am." I was genuinely surprised. "That's not what I mean." "I know you don't mean it that way. But George, I need to feel like I'm enough. Like my way of doing things is okay too." I tried to be more careful after that conversation, but it was harder than I expected. Helen had been such a big part of my life for so long that everything reminded me of her. The way Jennifer folded laundry reminded me of how Helen did it. The way she disciplined the kids reminded me of Helen's approach. The way she organized the kitchen reminded me of Helen's system. And yes, sometimes I did think Helen's way was better. Is that so wrong for a man who loved his wife? But I could see the effect my comments were having on Jennifer. She became more tense around me, more defensive about her choices. She stopped asking for my help with things, stopped including me in family decisions. "Mom, why does Grandpa always tell you you're doing things wrong?" I heard Emma ask one day. "He doesn't mean to, sweetheart. He just misses Grandma. But it makes you sad." "Sometimes, but we have to be patient with Grandpa. He's hurting." Hearing that conversation broke my heart. I didn't want to make Jennifer sad. I didn't want to be a burden on this family that had opened their home to me. Michael noticed the tension too. "Dad, is everything okay between you and Jennifer?" "Everything's fine." "It doesn't seem fine. She seems stressed when you're around." "I don't know what you want me to say. I want you to try harder to fit in here. This is Jennifer's house too, and she deserves to feel comfortable in it." "I'm not making her uncomfortable. Dad, you criticized her meatloaf last night." "I didn't criticize it. I just mentioned that Mom used to add breadcrumbs." "That's criticism, Dad. That's telling her she's doing it wrong. I was trying to be helpful." "Well, it's not helpful. It's hurtful." The tension in the house continued to grow. Michael started working late more often, and I suspected it was to avoid the awkwardness at home. Jennifer became short with me over little things, the way I loaded the dishwasher, the volume of my television, the time I got up in the morning. The kids started to pick up on the stress too. They became quieter around me, less likely to ask for help with homework or to share stories about their day. "Grandpa," Emma said to me one evening, Are you mad at Mommy? Of course not, sweetheart. Why would you think that? Because you always tell her she's doing things wrong. I don't do that. Yes, you do. Like when she made cookies yesterday and you said Grandma's were better. I didn't say they were better. You said Grandma used vanilla instead of almond. That's just a fact. But it made Mommy sad. Out of the mouths of babes. If a 12-year-old could see what I was doing, why couldn't I? That night, I lay in bed thinking about what Emma had said. Was I really making Jennifer feel bad? Was I really comparing her to Helen all the time? I thought about Helen's last words to me. Don't stop living. Was I living? Or was I just existing in a shrine to my dead wife? The next morning, I tried to be more conscious of my words. When Jennifer made breakfast, I simply said thank you, instead of commenting on how Helen used to make the eggs. When she helped Tyler with his math homework, I kept my mouth shut about Helen's methods. But the damage was already done. Jennifer had built up walls to protect herself from my constant comparisons, and she wasn't ready to let them down just because I was trying to be better. Christmas came and went. I tried to be festive for the kids' sake, but everything reminded me of Helen. The ornaments we had collected over the years, the stockings she had knitted, the cookies she used to bake. Dad, you seem really sad, Michael said on Christmas morning. I miss her. I know. We all do. But Dad, you can't let grief consume your whole life. I'm not. Yes, you are. You're living in the past. Mum is gone, but you're still here. The kids are still here. We need you to be present with us. I am present. No, you're not. You're here physically, but emotionally you're still with Mum. He was right, but I wasn't ready to admit it. After the holidays, things got worse. Jennifer barely spoke to me anymore, except when absolutely necessary. The kids seemed to avoid me. Michael was clearly frustrated with the situation. Dad, Michael said to me in January, we need to talk. What about? About you finding your own place. You want me to move out? I think it would be better for everyone, including me, especially you. Dad, you're not happy here. You're living in the past and it's not healthy. I'm grieving my wife. I know that, but it's been over a year, and you're not getting better. You're getting worse. I just need more time. Dad, time isn't going to fix this. You need to learn how to live without Mom, and you can't do that while you're comparing everything Jennifer does to what Mom used to do. I'll try harder. You've been trying harder for months. It's not working. So you're kicking me out? I'm asking you to take control of your life, find your own place, build your own routine, learn how to be George without Helen. I don't know how to do that. Then it's time you learned. Michael was right, but I wasn't ready to admit it. I asked for more time and he agreed to give me until after the holidays. But instead of using that time to prepare for independence, I dug in deeper. I became more defensive about my comments, more insistent that I was just sharing memories, not making comparisons. The breaking point came in March, on what would have been Helen's 68th birthday. I spent the day looking through photo albums, crying, talking to her picture. When Jennifer made dinner that night, I couldn't help myself. Helen always made pot roast on her birthday, I said. Jennifer put down her fork. George, I can't do this anymore. Do what? Compete with a ghost. I can't live up to Helen's memory and I'm tired of trying. I'm not asking you to compete with anyone. Yes, you are. Every day in 100 little ways, you tell me I'm not good enough. I'm not Helen, and I never will be. I never said you weren't good enough. You don't have to say it. You show it every time you correct the way I do something, every time you mention how Helen did it better. That night, Jennifer and Michael had a long talk behind closed doors. I could hear their voices, but not their words. The next morning, Michael asked me to sit down. Dad, this isn't working. What isn't working? You living here. It's not fair to Jennifer. It's not fair to the kids. And it's not fair to you. I thought we agreed I could stay until after the holidays. That was last year's holidays. Dad, it's been 15 months. You need to move out. Where am I supposed to go? There are lots of options. Senior living communities, apartments, condos. We'll help you look. I don't want to live in some old folks' home. Then find an apartment. But Dad, you can't stay here anymore. Fine. But I need time to find a place. You have until the end of April. That gave me 6 weeks. I should have started looking immediately, but I didn't. I was angry, hurt, feeling rejected by my own family. I spent those weeks sulking, making passive-aggressive comments, generally making everyone miserable. 2 weeks before my deadline, Michael sat me down again. Dad, have you started looking for a place? I've been thinking about it. Thinking isn't enough. You need to actually look. I will. When? Soon. Dad, you have 2 weeks. If you don't find a place by the end of April, Jennifer and I are going to find one for you. You can't just dump me somewhere. We're not dumping you, we're helping you start over. That's when I realized they were serious. This wasn't a threat or a negotiating tactic. They really wanted me gone. I started looking at apartments half-heartedly. Everything seemed too small, too expensive, too lonely. I wasn't really looking for a place to live. I was looking for reasons why I couldn't move out. April 30th came and went. I hadn't found a place, hadn't even seriously tried. Michael and Jennifer gave me another week, then another. But the tension in the house was unbearable. That's how we got to this Thanksgiving. The tension had been building for weeks. Jennifer barely spoke to me anymore. The kids seemed to walk on eggshells when I was around. Michael was clearly stressed about the situation. And then I brought homemade cranberry sauce instead of the canned stuff Jennifer had specifically requested, and everything exploded. I specifically asked you to bring ocean spray, Jennifer said when she saw my dish. I thought homemade would be better. It's not about better, George. It's about what I asked for. Helen always made cranberry sauce from scratch. I'm not Helen, Jennifer shouted. I'm never going to be Helen, and I'm tired of being compared to her every single day. I wasn't comparing you. Yes, you were. You always are. Nothing I do is ever good enough because it's not how Helen did it. That's not true. It is true, and I can't take it anymore. That's when Michael stepped in. Dad, you need to leave. It's Thanksgiving. I don't care what day it is. You've upset my wife. You've made my children uncomfortable, and you've turned what should be a family celebration into a fight. I just brought cranberry sauce. You brought attitude, Dad. You brought judgment. You brought the ghost of Mom to criticize everything Jennifer does. I miss your mother. We all miss her. But missing her doesn't give you the right to make Jennifer feel like garbage in her own home. I don't make her feel like garbage. Yes, you do. And I'm done watching it happen. So you're kicking me out on Thanksgiving? I'm asking you to leave until you can learn to respect my wife. Fine, I'll leave. Good. And that's how I ended up here, sitting in my car outside Mel's diner, wondering what to do next. My phone buzzes. It's a text from Mrs. Chen, my old neighbor. George, how's your Thanksgiving going? Mrs. Chen has always been kind to me. When Helen was sick, she brought us meals twice a week. After Helen died, she checked on me regularly, bringing soup and conversation. When I moved in with Michael, she said her door was always open if I needed anything. I stare at her message, not sure how to respond. How do I tell her I'm sitting alone in a parking lot because my son doesn't want me around? Instead, I type back, "It's been interesting. How's yours?" "Wonderful. The whole family is here. I made way too much food. You should come by if you get a chance." I look at her message and make a decision. I start my car and drive to Mrs. Chen's house. When I knock on her door, she opens it with a huge smile. "George, what a wonderful surprise." I hope I'm not intruding. "Don't be silly. Come in, come in. We were just sitting down to eat." Mrs. Chen's house is full of people, her children, grandchildren, even some neighbors who didn't have anywhere else to go. The dining room table is crowded with dishes, and everyone is talking and laughing. "Everyone, this is my dear friend George," Mrs. Chen announces. "George, grab a plate. There's plenty of food." I hesitate. I don't want to impose. "Nonsense," says her son David. "Mom always makes enough food for an army. Please, join us." So I do. I sit down at a table full of strangers who welcome me like family. Mrs. Chen piles my plate high with turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, green bean casserole, and yes, homemade cranberry sauce. "This cranberry sauce is delicious," I tell her. "My grandmother's recipe," she says proudly. "I've been making it for 40 years. My daughter-in-law tried to get me to use the canned stuff, but I told her some traditions are worth keeping." What did she say to that? She said she'd rather learn to make it my way than change the recipe. Smart girl. As we eat, people share stories about their families, their traditions, what they're thankful for. Mrs. Chen's grandson talks about starting college next year. Her daughter shares news about a promotion at work. A neighbor tells us about his recent retirement and his plans to travel. When it's my turn to speak, I'm not sure what to say. I'm thankful for kind neighbors, I finally manage, and for second chances. Are you okay, George? Asks Mrs. Chen's daughter, Linda. You seem a little sad today. Just some family stuff, I say. The holidays can be hard, she says kindly, especially when you're missing someone. Are you missing your wife? Asks Mrs. Chen's grandson, Danny. He's about 16, old enough to be curious, but young enough to ask direct questions. Every day, I admit. How long has she been gone? 2 years. That must be really hard. It is, but it's getting easier slowly. My grandpa died 3 years ago, Danny says. Grandma says the missing never goes away, but it changes. Like instead of being sad all the time, you start remembering the good stuff more. That's very wise. Grandma's the wise one, she taught me that. After dinner, Mrs. Chen and I sit on her porch while the younger folks clean up inside. You seem troubled today, George, she observes. I tell her about the fight with Michael, about being kicked out, about feeling like I don't belong anywhere anymore. You know, she says, when my husband died 10 years ago, I made the same mistake you're making. What mistake is that? I tried to keep everything exactly the same. I kept his coffee cup on the counter, his clothes in the closet, his side of the bed empty. I thought that's how I honored his memory. That sounds reasonable. It was killing me, and it was making my children worry about me constantly. They felt like they couldn't move forward because I was stuck in the past. So what did you do? I learned the difference between honoring someone's memory and being trapped by it. I kept the good things, his values, his love for family, his kindness. But I let go of the need to keep everything exactly as it was. That sounds easier said than done. It is. But George, your son doesn't want you to forget his mother. He just wants you to make room for the life he's building with his wife. Mrs. Chen's words hit me hard because I know she's right. I've been so focused on preserving Helen's memory that I've been dismissing Jennifer's efforts to create her own traditions, her own way of doing things. I think I owe my son an apology, I say. I think you owe yourself a fresh start, she replies. I don't know how to start over at 69. The same way you start over at any age, one day at a time. What if I can't do it? What if I'm too old to change? George, you're not too old to change. You're just scared to change. There's a difference. What if I forget her? You won't forget her. But you might discover that there's room in your heart for new experiences, new relationships, new ways of being happy. Helen made me promise not to stop living. Then maybe it's time you kept that promise. How do I do that? You start by forgiving yourself for being human. You made mistakes, George. You hurt people you love. But that doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you someone who was in pain and didn't know how to handle it. I don't know if Michael will forgive me. You won't know until you try. But George, even if he doesn't forgive you right away, you still need to move forward. You still need to build a life for yourself. I'm scared. Of course you are. Change is scary, but staying stuck is scarier. We sit in comfortable silence for a while, watching the sun set over her neighborhood. Finally, Mrs. Chen speaks again. George, can I tell you something? Of course. When my husband died, I thought my life was over. I thought the best part of me died with him. But you know what I discovered? What? I discovered that I was more than just his wife. I was a mother, a grandmother, a friend, a neighbor. I had interests and talents and dreams that had nothing to do with him. I had forgotten that, but it was still true. I feel like I don't know who I am without Helen. Then maybe it's time you found out. That evening I drive back to Michael's house. The lights are on and I can see the family in the living room watching football. I sit in my car for a few minutes, gathering courage. Finally, I walk to the front door and knock. Michael opens it, looking surprised and wary. Dad, what are you doing here? I came to apologize. And to talk, if you'll let me. Michael hesitates, then steps aside. Come in. The living room goes quiet when I enter. Jennifer is on the couch with the kids, a plate of leftover turkey and stuffing in her lap. She looks uncomfortable but not angry. I owe all of you an apology, I begin. Especially you, Jennifer. Jennifer looks surprised. George, you don't have to. Yes, I do. I've been unfair to you. I've been comparing you to Helen without realizing it, and that's not right. You're not Helen, and you shouldn't have to be. Jennifer's eyes fill with tears. I just want to feel like I'm enough. Like my way of doing things is okay, too. Your way of doing things is more than okay. You're a wonderful mother, a great wife to my son, and you've been patient with a stubborn old man who didn't know when to step back. Dad, Michael starts, but I hold up my hand. Let me finish. Michael, you were right to ask me to leave today. I've been living in the past and it's not fair to any of you. It's time for me to build a new life. What do you mean? Emma asks. She's 12 now, old enough to understand what's happening. I mean, I'm going to find my own place to live, somewhere I can start fresh but still be close enough to see you kids whenever your parents say it's okay. You don't have to move out, Dad, Michael says. We just need to find a better way to live together. No, son, I do need to move out. Not because you're kicking me out, but because it's time. I need to learn how to live without your mother, and I can't do that while I'm hiding in your guest room. Tyler, who's 9, looks worried. Does that mean we won't see you anymore, Grandpa? Of course not, buddy. I'll see you all the time. But I need my own space, and you need yours. Jennifer wipes her eyes. George, I never wanted you to feel unwelcome here. I know that. And I never wanted to make you feel like you weren't good enough. We both made mistakes. So what happens now? Michael asks. Now I find an apartment. I learn how to cook for one person. I make new friends. I build a life that honors your mother's memory without being trapped by it. That sounds lonely, Emma says. It might be sometimes, but it's also exciting. I haven't lived on my own since I was 25 years old. It's time I learned how. Where will you live? Tyler asks. Somewhere close by. Maybe one of those senior apartment complexes. Somewhere with other people my age. Can we help you look? Emma asks. I'd like that very much. And can we visit you? Tyler adds. I hope you will. I'll need help decorating and learning how to use all the modern appliances. This is really happening, Michael asks. It's really happening. And, Michael, I'm sorry for putting you in the middle of this. You shouldn't have had to choose between your wife and your father. You're not making me choose anymore. No, I'm not. From now on, I'm going to be the father you deserve and the grandfather these kids deserve. Someone who adds to your family instead of taking away from it. Over the next few weeks, I start apartment hunting with a new attitude. Instead of looking for reasons why places won't work, I'm looking for possibilities. Michael and Jennifer help me look at places, and the kids come along to give their opinions. We look at several senior living communities, but they all feel too institutional, too much like giving up. Then Jennifer finds an ad for a one-bedroom apartment in a regular complex about 10 minutes from their house. It's on the ground floor, has a small patio, and allows pets. What do you think, Dad? Michael asks as we tour the apartment. It's nice, but I don't have a pet. Maybe you should get one, Jennifer suggests. A dog might be good company. I've never had a dog. There's a first time for everything, Emma says. What kind of dog would I get? A friendly one, Tyler says. One that likes kids. One that's not too big, Emma adds. But not too small either. The apartment is perfect. Close enough to visit, far enough to have independence. It has a modern kitchen, a comfortable living room, a decent-sized bedroom and a small patio that gets morning sun. I put in an application that day. While I'm waiting to hear back about the apartment, I start making other changes. I go through my belongings and decide what to keep and what to donate. I keep the important things, photos, Helen's jewelry, a few pieces of furniture that have sentimental value, but I donate most of Helen's clothes and household items. Are you sure about this, Dad? Michael asks as we load boxes into his truck for the donation center. I'm sure someone else can use these things. Helen would want that. But her china set, are you sure you want to give that away? Jennifer should have it. Helen would want her to have it. When I offer the china to Jennifer, she starts to cry. George, I can't take this. It's too precious. It's just sitting in boxes. Helen bought it to be used, not stored. Please take it. Are you sure? I'm sure, but I have one condition. What's that? Use it. Don't save it for special occasions. Helen always regretted not using her good china more often. I promise I'll use it. And Jennifer, I want you to know that Helen would have loved you. She would have been proud to have you as a daughter-in-law. Thank you, George. That means everything to me. 2 weeks later, I get the call that my apartment application has been approved. I can move in the following weekend. The day I move in, the whole family comes to help. We don't have much to move. Just my bedroom furniture, a few boxes of personal items, and the new television Michael and Jennifer bought me as a housewarming gift. Dad, we have something else for you, Michael says after we've moved everything in. What's that? Jennifer disappears and comes back with a small golden retriever puppy. Her name is Honey, Jennifer says. She's 8 weeks old, and she's yours if you want her. I'm speechless. The puppy is adorable, all fluffy fur and wagging tail. I don't know anything about taking care of a dog. We'll help you learn, Emma says. Tyler and I researched everything. We know what food to buy and where to take her for training. And there's a dog park just 2 blocks from here, Tyler adds. I take the puppy in my arms and she immediately starts licking my face. Despite myself, I laugh. I guess I have a dog now. Do you like her? Emma asks anxiously. I love her. She's going to be your best friend, Tyler says. I think you're right. That first night in my new apartment, I sit in my living room with Honey sleeping on my lap. The apartment is quiet, but not lonely. It feels like a fresh start. I've put up a few pictures of Helen, but I've also left space for new memories. The apartment doesn't feel like a shrine to the past. It feels like a home for the future. The next morning, I wake up to Honey licking my face. She needs to go outside, so I get dressed and take her for her first walk around the complex. Cute puppy, says a woman walking her own dog. Is she new? We both are, I say. I just moved in yesterday. I'm Margaret, she says. I live in Building C. George, Building A. Well, welcome to the neighborhood, George. If you need any recommendations for vets or dog trainers, let me know. I will, thank you. As I walk Honey around the complex, I meet several other residents. There's Bob, a retired teacher who walks his beagle every morning at 7. There's Susan, a widow who moved here after her husband died. There's Frank, a veteran who volunteers at the local VA hospital. They're all friendly, all welcoming. For the first time in 2 years, I feel like I might be able to make new friends. When I get back to my apartment, my phone is ringing. It's Mrs. Chen. How was your first night in the new place? Good. Different, but good. And how's the puppy? How did you know about the puppy? Jennifer called me. She wanted to make sure someone was checking on you. The puppy is wonderful. Her name is Honey. That's a perfect name. George, I'm proud of you for taking this step. It's scary. Of course it is. But scary can be good. It means you're growing. Mrs. Chen, can I ask you something? Of course. How long did it take you to feel normal again after your husband died? There's no normal, George. There's just different. It took me about 2 years to stop feeling like I was just surviving and start feeling like I was living again. 2 years? That's about where I am now. That sounds right. George, grief isn't something you get over. It's something you learn to carry. The trick is learning to carry it without letting it weigh you down. How do you do that? You find new things to care about, new people to love, new experiences to enjoy. You don't replace what you lost. You add to what you have. After I hang up with Mrs. Chen, I sit down and make a list of things I want to do in my new life. Learn to cook for one person, train Honey, make new friends, maybe take a class or volunteer somewhere. It's a short list, but it's a start. Over the next few weeks, I settle into a routine. I wake up early and take Honey for a walk. I have coffee and read the newspaper. I run errands or work on small projects around the apartment. In the evenings, I often have dinner with Michael's family or visit with Mrs. Chen. The kids come for sleepovers every other weekend. We've started a tradition of making pancakes on Saturday mornings. Not Helen's recipe, not Jennifer's recipe, but our own new recipe that we created together. Grandpa, these are the best pancakes ever, Tyler says one Saturday morning. That's because we made them together, I tell him. Can we teach Mommy and Daddy how to make them, if they want to learn? I also start exploring my new neighborhood. There's a library within walking distance, a grocery store, a coffee shop where I sometimes sit and read. I discover that I enjoy the independence of being able to come and go as I please, of making my own schedule. One day, while I'm at the coffee shop, I strike up a conversation with another regular customer, a man about my age named Walter. I see you here most mornings, he says. Are you new to the area? Fairly new. I moved into the Maple Grove apartments a few weeks ago. I live there too. Building B, I'm Walter. George, Building A. Nice to meet you, George. What brings you to this neck of the woods? Starting over, I guess. My wife died a couple years ago and I've been living with my son's family. Time to get back on my own feet. I know that story. My wife died 3 years ago. Took me a while to figure out how to live alone again. How did you do it? One day at a time. Made some mistakes, learned some lessons. You'll figure it out. Walter and I start having coffee together most mornings. He tells me about the area, recommends restaurants and services, shares stories about his own journey through widowhood. The hardest part, he says one morning, is learning that you're still a whole person, even without your spouse. For so long you think of yourself as half of a couple. It takes time to remember who you are as an individual. I'm still working on that. It comes. And George, don't feel guilty about enjoying your independence. That doesn't mean you loved your wife any less. 3 months after moving into my apartment, I get a call from Michael. Dad, Jennifer and I have been talking. We want to invite you to Easter dinner. I'd love to come. There's just one thing. Jennifer wants to try a new recipe for ham. It's not the way Mom used to make it. Good, I say. I'm looking forward to trying something new. Really? Really. Michael, I'm learning that different doesn't mean wrong. It just means different. Dad, that means a lot to hear you say that. I mean it. I want to try Jennifer's ham recipe. I want to see what new traditions you're creating as a family. Easter Sunday, I arrive at Michael's house with a bottle of wine and an open mind. Jennifer has made a honey-glazed ham with pineapple. It's delicious. This is fantastic, Jennifer, I tell her. Would you share the recipe with me? Her face lights up. Really? You want the recipe? I'd love it. I'm trying to expand my cooking skills. I'll write it down for you. After dinner, we sit in the living room and the kids tell me about school, their friends, their plans for summer. Michael and Jennifer share stories about their work, their hopes for the future. I realize this is what I've been missing. Not the past, but the present. Not Helen's traditions, but the new traditions this family is creating. Dad, Michael says as I'm getting ready to leave, thank you. For what? For giving us space to be ourselves. For letting Jennifer be Jennifer, instead of trying to make her be Mum. Thank you for being patient with me while I figured it out. We're family, Jennifer says. That's what families do. Speaking of family, I say, I have some news. What's that? Emma asks. I'm thinking about getting a job. A job? Michael looks surprised. Dad, you're retired. I'm bored. I need something to do with my time. What kind of job? The pet store where I buy Honey's food is looking for part-time help. Someone to help customers, stock shelves, maybe help with dog training classes. That sounds perfect for you, Jennifer says. You think so? Absolutely. You're great with animals and you like helping people. I start next week. That's wonderful, Dad, Michael says. I'm proud of you. 6 months later, I'm settled into my new life. I work at the pet store 3 days a week and love it. I've made friends with my co-workers and customers. I've joined a senior walking group that meets at the park every morning. Honey has grown into a beautiful, well-trained dog who brings me joy every day. She's also been a great conversation starter. I've met more neighbors walking her than I ever would have on my own. I'm building a toy chest for Emma and Tyler in my spare time. It's not something Helen would have done. She wasn't handy with tools. But it's something I can do. Something that's uniquely mine to give. The kids love coming to my apartment. We have our own special traditions now. Tyler and I build model airplanes. Emma and I work on jigsaw puzzles. We order pizza and watch movies that their parents think are too silly. One evening, as I'm putting the finishing touches on the toy chest, my phone rings. It's Michael. Dad, I have some news. Jennifer's pregnant. That's wonderful. How is she feeling? Good, but a little nervous. It's been a while since we had a baby in the house. She'll be fine. She's a great mother. Dad, we were wondering, would you want to be involved? Help with the baby sometimes? I'd love to help, but only if Jennifer wants me to. She does. She says you've become a good friend and she trusts you. That means a lot to me. There's something else. We want to ask you to be in the delivery room, not instead of her family, but along with them. You're going to be this baby's grandfather and we want you there from the beginning. I have to sit down. Are you sure? We're sure. Dad, you're part of this family. Not the way you used to be, but in a new way, a better way. When baby Sarah is born 4 months later, I'm there. I watch my son become a father for the 3rd time, watch Jennifer become a mother again. When the nurse asks if I want to hold my granddaughter, I say yes. As I look down at this tiny person, I think about Helen. She would have loved this baby so much. But I also think about the future. All the things I'll get to teach Sarah. All the memories we'll make together. Hello, little one, I whisper. I'm your Grandpa George. We're going to have so much fun together. Jennifer smiles at me from her hospital bed. Thank you for being here, George. Thank you for letting me be here. You know, she says, I think Helen would be proud of the grandfather you've become. I think she'd be proud of all of us. A year later, I'm babysitting Sarah while Michael and Jennifer go out for their anniversary dinner. Emma and Tyler are at friends' houses, so it's just me and the baby. Sarah is crawling now, getting into everything. I follow her around my apartment, making sure she doesn't hurt herself. Honey follows us both, patient and protective. Sarah finds the photo of Helen on the coffee table and points at it. Gamma, she says. It's one of her first words. That's Great-Grandma Helen, I tell her. She would have loved you so much. Sarah smiles and claps her hands. Then she crawls over to me and pulls herself up on my leg, wanting to be picked up. As I hold her, I realize something. I'm not the same man who got kicked out on Thanksgiving 3 years ago. I'm not the man who was trapped in the past, unable to move forward. I'm a grandfather who has learned to honor the past while embracing the future. I'm a man who has learned that love doesn't mean holding on so tight that you can't let anything new in. When Michael and Jennifer come home that evening, they find me and Sarah on the floor, playing with blocks while Honey supervises. How did it go? Jennifer asks. Perfect, she's an angel. Dad, Michael says, we have something to tell you. What's that? We've been thinking about Thanksgiving this year. We want to start a new tradition. What kind of tradition? We want everyone to bring one dish that represents something new they've learned or tried this year, something that shows how we've grown. That sounds wonderful. What will you bring? I'm going to make Helen's apple pie, Jennifer says. I found her recipe in one of your old cookbooks. I want to learn how to make it. I'm touched. She would love that. What will you bring, Dad? Michael asks. I'm going to make Mrs. Chen's dumplings. She's been teaching me how to make them from scratch. Perfect. And Dad, this year when we go around the table saying what we're thankful for, I want you to know that I'm thankful for you. Not the you that you used to be, but the you that you are now. What do you mean? I'm thankful for a father who learned how to let go without letting go, who learned how to honor the past without being stuck in it, who learned how to be part of our family in a new way. Thanksgiving arrives, and this time I'm not bringing the wrong cranberry sauce. I'm bringing dumplings and an open heart. As we sit around the table, Michael, Jennifer, Emma, Tyler, baby Sarah in her high chair, and me, I look at each face and feel grateful. Grateful for a son who loved me enough to set boundaries. Grateful for a daughter-in-law who forgave my mistakes and became my friend. Grateful for grandchildren who accept me as I am now, not as I used to be. When it's my turn to say what I'm thankful for, I don't hesitate. I'm thankful for second chances. I'm thankful for learning that love sometimes means letting go. And I'm thankful for a family that didn't give up on me, even when I was giving up on myself. We love you, Grandpa, Emma says. I love you too, sweetheart, all of you. As we eat our meal, Jennifer's perfect turkey, my dumplings, Helen's apple pie made with love by Jennifer, I realize that this is what Helen would have wanted. Not for me to stay frozen in time, but for me to keep loving, keep growing, keep being part of this beautiful, messy, wonderful family. After dinner, as I'm getting ready to leave, Tyler runs up to me. Grandpa, will you come to my soccer game next week? Wouldn't miss it, buddy. And will you help me with my science project? Of course. And will you teach me how to make those dumplings? If your mom says it's okay. I say it's okay, Jennifer calls from the kitchen, but I want to learn too. As I drive home to my apartment with Honey sleeping in the passenger seat, I think about that Thanksgiving 3 years ago when Michael kicked me out. At the time, it felt like the end of the world. Now I see it was the beginning of a new one. Sometimes the best thing that can happen to you is being forced to start over. Sometimes love means having the courage to change, even when change is scary. I pull into my parking space and look up at my apartment window. The light is on. I left it on so I'd have something warm to come home to. Inside, I make myself a cup of tea and sit in my favorite chair. On the coffee table is a photo of Helen, but next to it is a new photo, one of me and baby Sarah, both of us laughing. I did it, Helen, I say to her picture. I learned how to live without you, without forgetting you. I learned how to be part of their lives without taking over their lives. I pick up the phone and call Mrs. Chen to thank her for the dumpling recipe and to tell her how dinner went. "I'm proud of you, George," she says. "You've come so far. We all have. What's next for you?" "I don't know. Maybe I'll take that cooking class you mentioned. Maybe I'll learn to dance. Maybe I'll travel somewhere Helen and I always talked about going." "That sounds wonderful." "Mrs. Chen, can I ask you something?" "Of course." "Do you think Helen would be proud of who I've become?" "George, I think Helen would be amazed by who you've become. You've taken the love she gave you and used it to build something new and beautiful. Thank you for everything. Thank you for letting me be part of your journey." After I hang up, I sit in the quiet of my apartment and feel something I haven't felt in years: excitement about the future. I'm 72 now, and I'm just getting started. I have grandchildren to spoil, new recipes to learn, new friends to make, new adventures to have. I have a son who respects me and a daughter-in-law who has become a true friend. I have a family that loves me, not despite my flaws, but including them. Most importantly, I have learned that it's never too late to change, never too late to grow, never too late to become the person you're meant to be. That Thanksgiving, when Michael kicked me out, was the worst day of my life, but it led to some of the best days of my life. Sometimes you have to lose everything to find yourself. Sometimes you have to be rejected to learn how to truly belong. And sometimes the surprise waiting at the table isn't what you expected. It's something better than you ever imagined. 2 years pass, and my life has taken on a rhythm I never expected. I'm 74 now, still working part-time at the pet store, still living independently in my apartment with Honey, who's grown into the most loyal companion I could ask for. The pet store has become more than just a job. It's become a community. I help train new dog owners, assist with adoption events, and I've even started a weekly support group for seniors who've recently lost their spouses and are considering getting their first pet. "Mr. Patterson," says Maria, the store manager, "you've become the heart of this place. The customers specifically ask for you." "I enjoy helping people find the right companion," I tell her. "There's something special about matching a person with the right pet." "Speaking of which, there's a woman here who's been waiting for you. She lost her husband 6 months ago and thinks she might be ready for a dog." I meet with Eleanor, a 68-year-old widow who reminds me a little of Helen. She's nervous about taking on the responsibility of a pet, but desperately lonely in her empty house. "I don't know if I can handle a dog," she says. "What if I mess it up?" "Eleanor, can I tell you something? 3 years ago, I'd never owned a dog in my life. My family gave me Honey when I was at my lowest point, and she saved me in ways I didn't even know I needed saving." "Really?" "Really. Dogs don't need perfection. They need love, consistency, and someone who cares about their well-being. You have all of those things." By the end of our conversation, Eleanor has fallen in love with a gentle senior dog named Max, who needs a quiet home. Watching them together, I see the beginning of a healing relationship. "Thank you," Eleanor says as she's filling out the adoption papers. "I feel like you understand what I'm going through." "I do." "And Eleanor? If you ever need advice or just want to talk to someone who's been there, here's my number." These interactions have become the most meaningful part of my work. I've helped dozens of people navigate the transition from loss to new companionship, and each success feels like a small victory. At home, my relationship with Michael's family continues to grow stronger. Sarah is now 3 years old and has become my constant shadow during visits. She calls me Papa George and insists on helping me with everything from cooking to walking Honey. "Papa George, can we make cookies today?" she asks during one of our Saturday visits. "What kind of cookies do you want to make?" "The ones with the chocolate chips. Those are my favorite too. Let's see what we need." As we bake together, I think about how different this feels from my early days in Michael's house. Then I was trying to recreate the past. Now I'm helping create new memories. "Papa George," Sarah says as we wait for the cookies to bake, "why do you live in a different house?" "Because sometimes grown-ups need their own space, but that doesn't mean we love each other any less." "Will you always come visit us?" "As long as you want me to, sweetheart. I'll always want you to." Emma and Tyler, now 15 and 12, have their own relationships with me. Emma often comes to my apartment to work on art projects, using my dining table as her studio. Tyler and I have started a tradition of building more complex model planes together. Grandpa, Tyler says one afternoon as we work on a particularly challenging model. My friend Jake says his grandpa just sits in a chair all day and doesn't do anything. Why are you different? What do you mean? You work, you have hobbies, you're always doing stuff. Jake's grandpa acts like he's waiting to die. Well, I guess I decided I'm not ready to stop living yet. There's still too much I want to do and see. Like what? Like teaching you how to build airplanes. Like watching Sarah grow up. Like helping people at the pet store. Like learning new things myself. What new things are you learning? I'm taking a cooking class on Thursday nights. And I'm thinking about learning Spanish. Spanish? Why? Because I've always wanted to, and I figured it's never too late to try. The cooking class has been one of my favorite new adventures. It's held at the community college, and the students range in age from 20 to 80. I'm somewhere in the middle, which still surprises me. Tonight we're learning to make fresh pasta, announces Chef Rodriguez, our instructor. I partner with Janet, a 45-year-old mother of 3 who's trying to expand her family's dinner repertoire. We've become good friends over the weeks, bonding over our mutual struggles with some of the more complicated techniques. George, you're getting really good at this, Janet says as we roll out our pasta dough. Practice makes progress, not perfection, I reply, something Chef Rodriguez says often. My kids would love to meet you. They can't believe I'm taking cooking classes with someone their grandfather's age who's cooler than their grandfather. I'm not cool, I'm just curious. Same thing, really. After class, several of us usually go to a nearby coffee shop to practice our conversational Spanish with Carlos, a retired teacher who volunteers to help English speakers learn his native language. Jorge, Carlos says to me. He insists on using the Spanish version of my name. Your pronunciation is improving every week. Gracias, Carlos. I want to surprise my granddaughter. She's learning Spanish in preschool. Ah, the little one will be so proud of her abuelo. These new friendships have enriched my life in ways I never expected. I have a social circle that has nothing to do with my past. People who know me as George the dog trainer, George the pasta maker, George the Spanish student, not George the widower or George the difficult father-in-law. One evening, as I'm practicing Spanish phrases with Honey as my patient audience, my phone rings. It's Michael. Dad, I have news. Big news. What's going on? I got a promotion. Regional manager. But it means we might have to relocate. My heart sinks. Where? Phoenix. The company wants me to oversee the Southwestern Division. That's wonderful, son. I'm proud of you. Dad, we haven't decided yet. It would mean leaving you, and we don't want to do that. Michael, you can't make career decisions based on me. This sounds like an amazing opportunity, but you're finally settled here. You have your apartment, your job, your friends, and I'll have all of that whether you're here or in Phoenix. Son, you need to do what's best for your family. You are part of our family. I know that, but I'm not a dependent part anymore. I'm a self-sufficient part. There's a difference. We talk for another hour about the logistics, the timeline, the pros and cons. When I hang up, I sit with Honey and process what this might mean. 3 years ago, the thought of Michael moving away would have terrified me. I would have felt abandoned, lost, desperate. Now, while I'm sad about the distance, I'm also proud of how far we've all come. The next few weeks are filled with family discussions about the move. Jennifer is excited about the opportunity, but worried about leaving her parents. The kids are nervous about changing schools, but excited about the adventure. What do you think, Dad? Michael asks during one of our Wednesday lunches. Honestly, I think you should take it. It's a great opportunity, and you're ready for it. But what about you? What about me? I have a life here, Michael. A good life. I'll miss you terribly, but I'll be fine. We could visit often, and you could come stay with us sometimes. I'd like that. But son, I need you to know something. The fact that I can be okay with you moving away, that's not because I love you less. It's because I love you enough to want what's best for you, even if it's hard for me. When did you get so wise? When I finally learned the difference between loving someone and needing someone. 2 months later, I'm helping the family pack for their move to Phoenix. It's bittersweet watching them prepare for this new chapter of their lives. Papa George, Sarah says, as I help her pack her toys, are you coming with us? No, sweetheart. I'm staying here. But I'll visit you in your new house and you can visit me here. Will you miss me? Every single day. But I'll also be excited to hear about all your new adventures. Will Honey miss me too? Honey will miss you almost as much as I will. The day they leave, the whole family comes to my apartment for one last breakfast together. I make pancakes, our special recipe, and we eat them slowly, trying to make the morning last. Dad, Michael says as they're getting ready to go, I can't thank you enough for supporting this decision. You don't need to thank me. I'm proud of you. 3 years ago, if we had tried to move, you would have fallen apart. 3 years ago, I was a different person. You're a better person. I'm a healthier person. There's a difference. As I watch their car disappear down the street, I feel sad but not devastated. I feel proud but not abandoned. I feel grateful for the relationship we've built and confident that distance won't destroy it. That evening, Mrs. Chen comes over with dinner and company. How are you doing, George? Better than I expected. Sad but okay. That's growth. It is, isn't it? What will you do now? Live my life, work at the store, take my classes, maybe travel a little. Travel? I've been thinking about taking that trip to Ireland that Helen and I always talked about. Maybe it's time. That sounds wonderful. Want to come with me? Mrs. Chen laughs. Are you asking me on a trip, George Patterson? I'm asking a good friend if she'd like to travel with another good friend. Separate rooms, separate itineraries if we want, but shared adventures. You know what? I'd love to. 6 months later, Mrs. Chen and I are standing on the cliffs of Moher in Ireland, looking out at the Atlantic Ocean. It's everything Helen and I dreamed it would be, but it's also something entirely new. This is incredible, Mrs. Chen says, taking photos with her phone. Helen would have loved this view. I'm sure she would have. But George, you're here now. You're experiencing this now. That's what matters. You're right, I am here now. And how does it feel? Like I'm finally living again instead of just surviving. We spend 2 weeks in Ireland, exploring castles, listening to traditional music, meeting locals who welcome us with warmth and stories. I think about Helen often, but not with the desperate longing I used to feel. I think about her with love and gratitude for the life we shared, and with appreciation for the life I'm living now. When we return home, I have stories to tell, photos to share, and memories that are entirely my own. Michael and his family video call to hear about the trip, and I can see how proud they are of my independence. Dad, you look so happy, Jennifer says during our call. I am happy. Different than I was with your mother, but genuinely happy. That's all we ever wanted for you. I know that now. A year later, I'm 75, and busier than I've been in decades. I've been promoted to assistant manager at the pet store. I'm fluent enough in Spanish to help translate for Spanish-speaking customers, and I've started teaching a cooking class for seniors at the community center. My apartment has become a gathering place for my diverse group of friends. Walter and I host a monthly poker game. Eleanor and I take our dogs to the park together every Sunday. Janet brings her family over for dinner parties, where I cook and her kids practice their Spanish with Carlos. Mr. Patterson, says David, Janet's 16-year-old son, my friends think it's cool that I know someone your age who's on Instagram. Well, I had to figure out how to stay connected with my grandkids somehow. Your posts from Ireland got like 200 likes. I'm still not sure what that means, but I'm glad people enjoyed them. The truth is, social media has become another way for me to stay connected with Michael's family, despite the distance. I post pictures of my adventures, my cooking experiments, Honey's antics. They comment and share their own updates. It's not the same as being nearby, but it's something. When Sarah turns 5, I fly to Phoenix for her birthday party. It's my first time visiting their new home, and I'm amazed by how well they've settled in. Papa George! Sarah runs into my arms at the airport. You came, you really came. Of course I came, I wouldn't miss your birthday. Wait until you see my new room, and my new school, and the desert. There are cactuses everywhere. Spending a week with them in their new environment, I see how right the decision to move was. Michael is thriving in his new role. Jennifer has started her own real estate business. The kids have made new friends and are embracing new experiences. Dad, Michael says as we sit by their pool one evening, seeing you here, seeing how independent and confident you are, it makes me realize something. What's that? We were both trapped before. You were trapped in the past, and I was trapped by feeling responsible for your happiness. Now we're both free to just love each other. That's exactly right. I'm proud of the man you've become. I'm proud of the man you've always been. I just couldn't see it clearly when I was so lost in my own grief. On my last night in Phoenix, the whole family gathers around their dinner table. As we eat Jennifer's delicious meal and listen to the kids tell stories about their new adventures, I feel a deep sense of contentment. "Papa George," Sarah says, "when will you come back?" "In a few months. And maybe next time, you can all come visit me. Can we see Honey? Honey would be heartbroken if you didn't. And can we make pancakes? We'll make the biggest batch of pancakes you've ever seen." Flying home to my own life, I reflect on how much has changed since that terrible Thanksgiving 5 years ago. I was a broken man then, clinging to the past, making everyone around me miserable with my inability to move forward. Now I'm a man with his own life, his own friends, his own adventures. I honor Helen's memory not by keeping everything the same, but by living fully, by continuing to grow and learn and love. Back home, Honey greets me with her usual enthusiasm, and my apartment feels like the sanctuary it's become. I unpack my gifts from Phoenix, artwork from Emma, a model airplane from Tyler, a hand-drawn card from Sarah that says, "Best Papa George ever." I place Sarah's card next to the photo of Helen on my coffee table. Past and present, memory and reality, all coexisting peacefully. That night, I call Mrs. Chen to tell her about my trip. "It sounds wonderful, George. How do you feel about the distance now?" Grateful for it, actually. It forced all of us to learn how to love each other from a distance, which made us appreciate our time together even more. And it proved that you could be happy without them right there. Exactly. I love them deeply, but I don't need them to complete me anymore. That's the healthiest kind of love. It took me 75 years to learn that, but better late than never. 6 months later, I'm preparing for another adventure. This time it's a cooking tour of Italy with a group from my cooking class. Janet and her husband are coming, along with several other classmates who've become close friends. "Are you nervous about traveling with a group?" Walter asks as he helps me pack. "A little, but also excited. I've never done anything like this before. Helen would be amazed by all the things you're doing now. I think she'd be proud that I finally kept my promise to her." "What promise?" "To not stop living." The Italy trip is everything I hoped it would be and more. We learned to make authentic pasta in a Tuscan farmhouse, explore ancient ruins in Rome, take a cooking class with a grandmother in a small village who speaks no English but teaches us through gestures and smiles. "George," Janet says as we sit in a cafe in Florence, "watching you on this trip has been inspiring. You approach everything with such curiosity and joy. At my age, every new experience feels like a gift. You're not that old." "I'm 75, Janet. I'm definitely old. But I'm not dead, and I'm not done. What's next for you?" "I don't know. Maybe learn to paint. Maybe take a photography class. Maybe plan another trip. Maybe fall in love again?" The question surprises me. "I don't know about that." "Why not? You're a catch, George. You're kind, interesting, independent, adventurous. I loved Helen for 42 years. I don't know if I have room for that kind of love again. Maybe it wouldn't be that kind of love. Maybe it would be a different kind, but still meaningful." I think about Janet's words as we continue our tour. I haven't considered the possibility of romantic love again. The idea seems both terrifying and intriguing. When I return home, I find that my perspective has shifted slightly. I notice Margaret, my neighbor who walks her dog every morning, in a different way. I pay attention when Eleanor mentions feeling lonely. I'm more aware of the couples in my cooking class, the easy companionship they share. But I'm not actively looking for romance. I'm content with my life as it is, open to possibilities, but not desperate for them. That contentment is tested when I get a call that changes everything. "Dad," Michael's voice is strained, "I need to tell you something. Jennifer's been diagnosed with breast cancer." The world stops. "What?" "She found a lump last month. We just got the results. It's early stage, very treatable, but she's going to need surgery and chemotherapy. I'm coming out there." "Dad, you don't have to." "Yes, I do. Jennifer is family. You're going to need help with the kids, with everything. I'm coming." "Are you sure? What about your job, your life here?" "My job will understand. My life here will wait. Family comes first." "Dad, thank you. We really need you right now. I'll be there tomorrow." As I pack for what I know will be an extended stay, I think about how different this feels from my move to Michael's house 5 years ago. Then I was running away from my life, seeking refuge from my grief. Now, I'm temporarily leaving my life to help my family through a crisis. The difference is enormous. When I arrive in Phoenix, I can see the strain on everyone's faces. Jennifer is trying to be strong for the kids, but she's scared. Michael is overwhelmed by the logistics of treatment while trying to maintain his work responsibilities. Emma and Tyler are confused and frightened. "George," Jennifer says when she sees me, "you didn't have to come all this way." "Yes, I did. We're family, and families take care of each other. But your life in Chicago. We'll be there when I get back. Right now you need me here, and there's nowhere else I'd rather be." Over the next 4 months, I become the family's anchor. I drive Jennifer to treatments when Michael can't get away from work. I help the kids with homework and school projects. I cook meals and manage the household when Jennifer is too tired from chemotherapy. But this time, I'm not trying to take over or recreate the past. I'm supporting the family they've become, respecting Jennifer's way of doing things, following their established routines. "Dad," Michael says one evening after Jennifer has gone to bed early, "I don't know how we would have gotten through this without you. You would have managed. You're stronger than you think. But having you here, knowing the kids are taken care of, knowing someone is looking after Jennifer when I can't be here, it's made all the difference. I'm glad I could help. You know what's amazing? 5 years ago, if something like this had happened, I would have been worried about taking care of Jennifer and taking care of you. Now you're taking care of all of us. That's what family does. But Dad, you've given up your whole life to be here. I haven't given up my life. I've paused it to help my family. There's a difference. Jennifer's treatment goes well. The surgery is successful, and she responds better to chemotherapy than expected. By the time I'm ready to return to Chicago, she's been declared cancer-free and is regaining her strength. "George," she says on my last day, "I can never thank you enough for what you've done. You don't need to thank me. I love you. You're my daughter-in-law, but more than that, you're my friend. You saved us, you know. Not just by helping with practical things, but by being the calm, steady presence we needed. You saved yourselves. I just helped a little. Will you promise me something?" "What?" "Promise me you'll go back to your life and be happy. Don't feel guilty about living your own life. We're okay now." "I promise." Returning to Chicago feels like coming home in the best possible way. My apartment welcomes me back. Honey is ecstatic to see me, and my friends have kept my life warm and waiting. "George," Eleanor says when she sees me at the dog park, "we missed you so much. How's your daughter-in-law?" "She's going to be fine. Cancer-free. And how are you?" "Grateful. Grateful I could help, grateful they're okay, and grateful to be home. You look different somehow." "How so?" "More settled, I guess. Like you figured something out." She's right. These past months have shown me that I can be fully present for my family when they need me without losing myself in the process. I can love them and support them while maintaining my own identity and independence. A year later, I'm back to my full routine in Chicago. Jennifer has made a complete recovery, and the family has found their new normal. I visit them regularly, and they visit me, but we're all comfortable with the distance and the independence it provides. I'm 76 now, and I've added new dimensions to my life. I'm learning photography. I've started volunteering at the animal shelter, and I've begun writing down some of my stories for my grandchildren. "Papa George," Sarah says during a video call, "Mommy says you're writing a book." "Not a book, sweetheart. Just some stories about our family, about Grandma Helen, about the adventures I've had. Will you put me in the stories?" "You're already in them. You're one of the best parts." One evening, as I'm working on these stories, I get a call from an unexpected source. "Is this George Patterson?" a woman's voice asks. "Yes. Who's this?" "My name is Ruth Morrison. I got your number from Eleanor at the dog park. She said you help people who've lost their spouses and are thinking about getting a pet." "I do. How can I help you?" "My husband died 6 months ago. I'm so lonely, but I've never had a pet. Eleanor said you might be willing to talk to me about it. I'd be happy to. Would you like to meet for coffee?" Ruth turns out to be a 72-year-old retired librarian who's struggling with the same issues I faced after Helen died. She's intelligent, kind, and desperately lonely. "I don't know if I'm ready for the responsibility," she says, as we sit in my favorite coffee shop. "The question isn't whether you're ready. The question is whether you're willing to try something that might help you heal." "How do I know if it's right?" "You don't. But Ruth, can I tell you something? 3 years ago, I was in a very dark place. My family gave me a puppy, and I thought they were crazy. I didn't want the responsibility. But that little dog saved my life in ways I never expected. Really, really. She gave me a reason to get up every morning, forced me to go outside and meet people, and provided companionship when I needed it most. What if I mess it up? Then you'll learn and do better. But Ruth, you were a librarian for 40 years. You know how to research, how to learn, how to solve problems. You can figure out how to take care of a dog. By the end of our conversation, Ruth has decided to visit the shelter with me the next day. We find her the perfect companion, a gentle senior dog named Charlie who needs a quiet home and lots of love. 6 months later, Ruth and Charlie are regular fixtures at the dog park, and Ruth has become part of our extended friend group. She's also become something more to me, though neither of us has acknowledged it directly. "George," Walter says one morning as we have coffee, "are you going to ask Ruth out on a real date, or are you going to keep pretending these dog park meetings are coincidental?" "We're friends, Walter. You're friends who light up when you see each other, who find excuses to spend time together and who clearly care about each other. It's complicated. Why? You're both single, both lonely, both good people. What's complicated about that? I loved Helen for 42 years, and you'll love her for the rest of your life. But George, that doesn't mean you can't love someone else too. Different love, but still love. I don't know if I'm ready. There's only one way to find out." That evening, I call Ruth. "Would you like to have dinner with me tomorrow night? Not just coffee, not just the dog park, an actual dinner date." There's a pause. "I'd love to, George. I was wondering when you'd ask." "You were? I've been hoping you would for weeks." Our first official date is awkward and wonderful. We're both nervous, both out of practice, both carrying the weight of our previous marriages, but we're also both interested in seeing what might develop between us. "This feels strange," Ruth admits over dinner. "Good strange or bad strange?" "Good strange. Scary, but good." "I know exactly what you mean." "George, can I ask you something?" "Of course." "Do you think it's possible to love someone new without betraying the memory of someone you lost?" "I think love isn't a finite resource. I think the capacity to love grows with use, not shrinks." "That's a beautiful way to put it." "Ruth, I loved Helen completely. I always will. But I'm learning that honoring her memory doesn't mean closing my heart to new possibilities. I feel the same way about my Robert. So where does that leave us? I think it leaves us free to see what happens next. What happens next is a slow, careful courtship between two people who've learned the value of taking things one day at a time. We don't rush into anything, don't make grand declarations, don't try to recreate what we had with our spouses. Instead, we build something new. We take cooking classes together, travel to places neither of us has been, share books and movies and long conversations about everything and nothing. "Dad," Michael says during one of our video calls, "you seem really happy lately." "I am happy." "Is there something you want to tell us?" "I've been seeing someone. Her name is Ruth." "That's wonderful. Tell us about her." "She's kind, intelligent, funny. She lost her husband about the same time I lost your mother. We understand each other." "Are you serious about her?" "We're taking it slow, but yes, I think we could be serious about each other. Dad, I'm so happy for you. Mom would be happy for you too. I think she would be. She always wanted me to be happy. When do we get to meet her?" "Soon, I hope." 2 years later, Ruth and I are planning our wedding. It's going to be a small ceremony, just family and close friends. We're both 78 now, and we know what we want. "Are you nervous?" Ruth asks as we address invitations. "A little, are you?" "A little, but also excited." "Me too." "George, do you think we're crazy, getting married at our age?" "I think we're lucky. How many people get a second chance at love?" "Not many." "Then we better not waste it." The wedding is perfect. Michael and his family fly in from Phoenix. Ruth's children come from various parts of the country. Mrs. Chen cries during the ceremony. Eleanor and Walter serve as our witnesses. "Dad," Michael says during his toast at the reception, 5 years ago you were a broken man who thought his life was over. Today, you're starting a new chapter with a wonderful woman who makes you happy. That's not just inspiring, it's miraculous." "It's not miraculous," I reply. "It's what happens when you stop running from life and start running toward it." As Ruth and I dance our first dance as husband and wife, I think about the journey that brought me here. From that terrible Thanksgiving when Michael kicked me out, through the dark months of learning to live alone, to the gradual rebuilding of my relationship with my family, to finding love again. It's been a long, difficult, beautiful road. What are you thinking about? Ruth asks as we sway to the music. About how grateful I am for second chances. All of them? All of them. The chance to rebuild my relationship with Michael. The chance to become the grandfather my grandkids deserve. The chance to find you. I'm grateful too. For what? For a man who knows how to love without trying to possess, who knows how to be part of a family without losing himself, who knows how to honor the past while embracing the future. I had to learn all of that the hard way. The best lessons usually come the hard way. Now, at 79, I'm living a life I never could have imagined 5 years ago. Ruth and I have blended our lives and our friend groups. We travel together, cook together, volunteer together at the animal shelter. We each maintain our own apartments but spend most nights together. My relationship with Michael's family is stronger than ever. They visit us regularly, and we visit them. Sarah, now 8, adores Ruth and calls her Grandma Ruth. Emma and Tyler, now 20 and 17, come to us for advice about college and relationships and life decisions. "Papa George," Sarah says during her latest visit, "are you happy?" "Very happy, sweetheart. Why do you ask?" "Because Mommy says you used to be very sad, but now you smile all the time." "I do smile a lot now, don't I?" "Will you teach me how to be happy when I'm sad?" The most important thing is to remember that sad feelings don't last forever, and sometimes the best things in life come after the saddest times. Like Grandma Ruth? Exactly like Grandma Ruth. That evening, as Ruth and I sit on my apartment balcony watching the sunset, I reflect on the unexpected turns my life has taken. "Do you ever think about that Thanksgiving when Michael kicked you out?" Ruth asks. She knows the whole story, of course. Sometimes. It was the worst day of my life at the time. And now I think it was the day my real life began. How so? It forced me to stop hiding from my grief and start dealing with it. It made me learn how to be independent again. It taught me the difference between loving someone and needing someone, and it led you to me. Eventually, yes, but more importantly, it led me back to myself. The self you are now is pretty wonderful. The self I am now is someone who's learned that it's never too late to change, never too late to grow, never too late to start over. What would you tell someone who's going through what you went through? I'd tell them that grief is not the enemy. Staying stuck in grief is. I'd tell them that honoring someone's memory doesn't mean refusing to live. And I'd tell them that sometimes the people who love you most have to be cruel to be kind. Like Michael was with you. Exactly. He saved my life by forcing me to save myself. As we head inside for the night, I look at the photos on my coffee table. There's still a picture of Helen there, but now it's surrounded by photos of my new life. Pictures with Ruth, with my grandchildren, from our travels, from our wedding day. Past and present, memory and reality, loss and love, all coexisting in the rich tapestry of a life fully lived. "Ruth," I say as we get ready for bed, "thank you." "For what?" "For showing me that love isn't something you run out of. It's something that grows when you share it. Thank you for being brave enough to love again. Thank you for being worth the risk." That night, as I drift off to sleep next to the woman who became my second chance at happiness, I think about the surprise that was waiting at the table all along. It wasn't what I expected when Michael kicked me out that Thanksgiving day. It wasn't immediate forgiveness or a return to the way things were. The surprise was discovering that I was stronger than I knew, more resilient than I believed, and more capable of change than I ever imagined. The surprise was learning that endings can be beginnings, that loss can lead to growth, and that love multiplies when you give it away. The surprise was finding out that at 69 years old I'm not winding down, I'm just getting started.